Thank you very much. Thank you, Lloyd Institute. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, guests on the dais, everyone here in the room. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for such a lovely audience. I mean, an early morning audience and seeing so many bright faces, young faces, is always a rejuvenation. Um, we started off with the five elements. Then Professor Vandana spoke about another element. I'll add another element to it. The seventh element that we all would want to actually have when we have such eminent people here is knowledge. The seventh element that we can actually imbibe. And all these elements, if you look at it, they take you towards shaping not only your careers, your professional lives, but yes, taking you to a very different level where everyone talks about now the new age technologies and healthcare. So I, as graciously introduced, I have been in the health tech and the medtech sector for quite some time, and it's been a very great journey to see how India is developing now, and with the new age AI coined, we thought of transforming it in a very different way, where we not only looked at AI as artificial intelligence, which I think most of you do know. We thought of leveraging the or recoining the word to academia and industry, AI. What starts with the five or the seven elements now of knowledge will actually harness your careers to the next level when you become professionals. And as Professor Vandana said, a young populace looking at professional careers, and great to hear that you've got almost like 90 plus achievement in placements. So my aim here was to also talk about a sector that probably is the dwarfed sector of the pharmaceutical industry or the healthcare industry, which is the medical devices industry, or as we call it, MedTech. How many of you technically do know about what MedTech is? Any guesses or any idea, or it's just a post-COVID syndrome that everyone knows? Any question? Any answer from any student, if I could? Anyhow, we'll go into those dynamics a bit later. But yes, medical devices post-COVID has become an area which is not only a focused area by the government of India, but fortunately over the past couple of years, institutions have also taken a lot of interest into this, because as per a scale committee report, and I happen to be on the committee of scale, which is a standing committee on local value add and professional life sciences, which is under the Ministry of Commerce. By 2035, the medtech industry would require 35 lakh people to be employed. 35 lakh people. And where is this population going to come? And we need them in each and every sphere. It's like a huge spectrum that we require. Like in the pharma sector that you've possibly seen, the kind of job spectrums that you have. In the medtech sector also, there is a huge convergence of jobs that we are now requiring, not only from unskilled to blue collar to white collar jobs that are available. And these 32 lakh people, we as an industry would require by, I would say, the present galloping speed. Before 2035, we'll look at tick boxing the global goals of UHC that we are looking at by 2030. The present medtech industry is a $14 billion industry. And as I said, we may be dwarfed to the pharmaceutical industry, but by 2030 and possibly by 2047, we would be easily a $150 billion industry. And that's a huge industry that India would be catering to the world. So I was just, while coming here, I was going through a set of professional jobs that we require in the medtech industry, and it's a galore of jobs, right from government jobs, which is into the CDSO, which is the Drug Controller General of India's office, which is MDOs now, medical device officers, to quality assurance, quality control, the manufacturing sector itself, in the field of engineering, and you would not believe that we require biomedical engineering, electronic engineering, mechanical engineering, medical physics engineering, life sciences engineering, assistive devices, which is getting a bigger role now. We require engineers in those areas. We require R&D and design experts. We require animal lab, toxicity lab testing experts, sales marketing in any case. A new area that has actually come up with India becoming global and we inking a lot of free trade agreements is, your entire regulatory and international affair people. Project managers, each and every site is a project on its own. I have 9 companies with me, 4 in India and 5 overseas. We need project officers in those areas. We need supply chain and logistic experts, incubation specialists, and a large ITI workforce. With this and a couple of more areas, 35 lakh opportunities are standing between now and 2035, and we want to convert these much faster, at a better pace, at better quality, because when we talk about skill development, when we talk about the area of AI and technology, we require people who understand this. We require people in the MedTech sector who understand the minuteness between what healthcare is, what metallurgy is, and how it can actually give the right sense of healthcare to the world. Another thing that ma'am touched about is when the Prime Minister talked about, and I also am very passionate about, is the Jai Vigyan and Jai Anusandhan spiel that the PM from the Red Fort talked about. This instills the fact that India is not only going to be the Sanjeevani to the world, but we will also be the professional population to cater to a lot of disease dynamic profiling which the world requires. Today, when we look at a brain drain happening, it happens largely in the pharmacy area. And I'm telling you, we need to not only capitalize on that brain drain so that it is retained in India, but we also need to look at a brain gain, where we have professionals who have the expertise to convert the convergence of India as a make in India for the world. And when we look at this, we require a large set of people who would understand how diplomacy would also work. So, the opportunities do not stop here. On the theme, I think, we all know about how AI is going to be the next game changer, and everyone is now sitting at a cusp where artificial intelligence is actually going to not only change lives, but also change the way healthcare will be envisioned. Couple of years back, if you had to look at an ECG, or if you would have to look at a CABG, an angioplasty or an angiography, it was a very cumbersome and a complex process. And those who would have lived the eras of 80s and 90s, and I'm sure sir is here, who would have looked at that entire spectrum, would understand how people would have gone through an harrowing experience of tests, multiple tests, and then results which the doctors used to decipher. Today we're sitting on a data, today we're sitting on those kind of profiles that AI actually gives you at the click of your device, whether it is wearable devices, whether it is POC devices that are now available in hospitals or even at your homes. And that is going to change the entire spectrum of health tech. And this is very important to understand, that when you move in the field of artificial intelligence, on technology advancements, how can you take that to a level where you are going to really make an impact to human lives? Patient safety, I'm sure you would all have a subject on, or a session on patient safety, because that's a mandatory topic that we all look at. But beyond that, how is this data going to convert into disease dynamic profiling, so that We know where and how to deploy our medics, our professionals, and our devices to a next generation which will be able to understand how disease can be tackled very, very efficiently, and how we can have non diversified sectors which are going to be aligned to the health sector. The other thing that I wanted to really talk about here is technology. The theme says AI and technology, harnessing technology equally with AI, and that too at not only the class A and class B cities. Will have to take it down to not only peri-urban areas, class 3 cities or tier 3 cities, and down to the rural population. Today we feel very proud of the fact that when the Prime Minister talks about Ayushman Bharat really clocking more than 70 crore people, it's a huge feat that we've looked at, and it's the biggest UHCA, universal health coverage, that a country like India has provided, surpassing even US, surpassing even the NHS in the UK, and many other, I think, governments who actually would have never envisioned that such kind of a population can be catered. Most of these populations in the European Union are even less than our populations in smaller cities or even big districts. So you can imagine the kind of technology advancements that we need to have. These technology advancements need to be getting a stronger impetus in infrastructure, and I'm glad that institutes are having the best infrastructures. Last time when I was here, I was amazed that the infrastructure that they're building is not only for the present generation, is future looking, and I congratulate the chairman for actually having that vision of infrastructure. This shows how cross-sectoral dimensions can actually be met. So, when we have cross-sectoral dimensions, we obviously would have cross-sector research and R&D. Research and R&D is the only harnessing fact that everyone can actually instill in their minds when we look at the quality of India. जब हम बोलते हैं ना भारत एक समृद्ध देश बन चुका है और we are working towards a विकसित भारत 2047. That विकसित भारत needs to be a Bharat where people, a global population, not only people, a global population needs to have faith in made in India devices, in made in India drugs, in made in India, people, professionals. Today, during the FTAs, when we are a part of the UK FTA or a BRICS FTA, a free trade agreement, the first thing that comes from their side as a requirement is professionals. So if we have professionals who are actually wary about the quality, who are R&D specialists, I think a cross-sectional and a cross-dimensional work in research is required. Then we need to also look at how regulatory frameworks are to be understood, because when we go global, the international regulatory frameworks impact us. So I think a lot of you could actually take up something like an international regulatory framework course, move to destinations where you can actually talk about how quality assurance can actually take forward the entire technology zone itself. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is how AI can actually be harnessed. And as I started, the real AI can be harnessed from academia and industry associations. If we have a sound set of professionals that are given to the industry, whether it's the MedTech industry, the health tech industry, or the pharma industry, I think we would have the best minds that can take forward the best new developments of drugs, the best new development of high-end medtech devices, and now we're moving into a very different area of wearables, which will give you much more granular understanding of health and health assessment, and even SAMD, which is your software as a medical devices, your IoTs. Everything is going to be looked into a spectrum which is based on research and technologies. So I think it's time that we embark on a journey of transformation. It's time that we recognize that technology, innovation, and R&D are the cornerstones of where India can leapfrog from where it is now to almost a different level towards a Viksit Bharat. And you know, the twin goals of achieving not only health within the country but also providing health to a global population is something that we all should aim at, institutions can aim at, and collaboratively I think this can be achieved much before 2047. हम विकसित होने से पहले एटलीस्ट शिक्षित होकर उस विकास के रास्ते पर अग्रसर हो सकते हैं. Thank you very much. Thank you.